What's the word, people? Welcome back to another episode of From What's the Word Entertainment. I'm your host, Sherm. We've been off for a couple weeks now as I was recovering from LASIK eye surgery so I can finally see straight. Ron couldn't be here this week, so I'm joined by my guest host, Obed. Glad to hear you.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Appreciate this opportunity, the chance to kick it and dish on some perspectives.
All right, great. Appreciate you being here as well. So let's get right to work. So on this week's episode, we'll be discussing the latest NFL news in action and the Week 4 matchups. But first, I'd like to just review a couple big games from Week 5 of the college football season. The first one I want to look at is number 7 Stanford Cardinals visiting the number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Stanford running back Bryce Love, I think, needs to have a big game for Stanford. I mean, he's only played in 3 out of the 4 games so far, and only one game he's gone over 100 yards. I think this is an opportunity for him to really show what he's about, and some folks even had him as an early Heisman candidate. So I think this is something in a moment where he needs to step up big time. And Notre Dame's quarterback Ian Book, he had his first start last week, accounting for 5 touchdowns for Notre Dame. He's had a great showing, but you know what? I personally think Stanford will take this one. Even though it's in Notre Dame, I'm going with Stanford. What about you, Obed?
I have to agree. I mean, I think Bryce is going to need to step up. You know, you're going to want to be able to control the flow of the game, time of possession. Mm-hmm. Those things are big. You want to be able to show the candidates who are going to be voting that you are this A-plus player. Right. I look at Stanford. I think they have a great dynamic front four. I think they're going to be able to get after the quarterback. Especially if this guy's going to throw 5 TDs on you, then you want to be able to get some pressure in his face. But I'll give it to Stanford on this one.
Stanford as well. All right, great. And the other game we want to highlight is the number 4 Ohio State Buckeyes visiting Happy Valley against the number 9 Penn State Nittany Lions. This is Urban Meyer's first big game of 2018 as he missed the TCU game due to his 3-game suspension, of course. Ohio State's quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, is having a heck of a season so far. He's got almost 1,200 yards passing. It's with a 75% completion percentage. That's crazy. And he's got 16 touchdowns with only 1 interception. So that's very, very impressive. Yeah. But Penn State's quarterback, Trace McSorley, having a pretty good year as well, too. This senior quarterback is the leader of the team. Well, he's a proven winner, but he needs to have another big moment, step up here to lead Penn State to victory, and even possibly, enhance his Heisman chances. Yeah. The receivers, I know, have some drop balls the past few weeks, which has hurt him a little bit.
Gotta help your quarterback.
Right, absolutely. But they're going to really need to rely on Miles Sanders here to run the ball effectively. I think I mentioned before in another episode, he's almost like Saquon Barkley, but not as talented, but he's a very good, versatile running back. Yep. But the most importantly, I think the Penn State defense needs to step up. Would you agree?
I would agree. I think, when you have a guy who's lights out on fire like that, the one thing you want to be able to do is either keep him on the sidelines or keep him from hurting you. Mm-hmm. The best way for this offense to step up and support this defense is to keep the ball moving. Keep the ball moving. We know when Ohio State gets the ball, they got a couple good running backs back there. Haskins will throw it around. So keep that offense on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. See if you can keep some time of possession, and then let your defense make some plays.
Absolutely. So you know what? I, of course, being a Penn State fan, I'm going to go Penn State this one. I'm going to say Penn State 27, Ohio State 24. It's going to be a close one.
Okay.
How about you?
I can see Penn State 30. I can see Ohio State 24. I can't bet against them on the way out. This is an opportunity to play spoiler.
Absolutely. So coming up next, we'll discuss Week 3 results from the NFL and this week's upcoming games as well. So we'll be right back. All right. Well, now let's do a quick recap of some of last week's NFL games. Obviously in the AFC, we had some big winners with Kansas City over in San Francisco. Patrick Mahomes lit it up once again.
Watch out for that air raid. It'll come get you.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, he's got, 13 touchdowns now in first 3 weeks?
Doing Peyton Manning stuff. Better than Peyton Manning.
I mean, he's very impressive so far. Yeah. We had Buffalo over Minnesota last week.
I know Vegas was hurt. Probably cried into their tea.
And it was in Minnesota, of all things, which was crazy. And in Minnesota, he put up 6 points?
Yeah. I mean, I not with the firepower that Minnesota's packing. Pass catchers everywhere. Running backs, I should be able to do it.
That was crazy.
It's disappointing. I thought there was a gamesmanship aspect to it, but maybe I was wrong.
Right. And then we had Baltimore over Denver. Flacco hasn't looked too bad.
Now they would change out the receiving core. I think he's got some people he can trust a little more than what he had last year.
But I would say Case Keenum needs to step up in his game for the Broncos, though.
Yeah, you did. You had some firepower. You had some weapons when you were out in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It's not like you dropped off too hard there. I think with Philip Lindsay, I think with Royce Freeman, he's got Emmanuel Sanders, the rebirth. Mm-hmm. He should be doing a lot better than that.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Some of the biggest losers, the biggest loser I would say, and I think we both agree, is New England losing to Detroit in Detroit. Absolutely. I mean, New England, they've got to get it together soon, don't you think?
I would agree. Not looking confident at all, honestly. Can't rush the passer, can't keep in coverage. They had a fantastic interception by that rookie, but outside of that, I mean, they could have had their doors blown off. I'm surprised that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know they've just recently acquired Josh Gordon. He didn't play in that game. Yeah. Brady's got to do more. I mean, you know what? I can't even put it all on Brady. No. It's a lot of kind of different things combined, but they've got to do more.
Yeah, it's got to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest surprise, well, I guess one of the biggest standouts was the Browns finally getting their first win in what?
They're not due anymore.
635 days, I think it was.
My goodness.
But they're Browns, wow.
Finally pulled it out.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield coming in when Tyrod Taylor went out with a concussion.
Yeah, lit it up out there. I mean, there were passes. I think there was one pass that Jarvis Landry hit him in the chest, and that's how fast the ball was coming out that he wasn't expecting it versus the slow windup that he would get from Tyrod.
Right.
He didn't have enough time to react to it.
And there was a pass in particular I want to point out when Tyrod Taylor, he floated it on Jarvis Landry. He had an easy touchdown. Tyrod beat the coverage, beat the safety down the middle of the field, and Tyrod just floated it up for some reason, and it was deflected by the defender.
Yeah.
I mean, but Baker, when the minute he came in, he was firing every single pass on point. I think Baker's first pass was like 19 yards, which is more yards than Tyrod Taylor had the entire time he was in the game. So,
it's tough.
I mean, Baker will get the start this week, so I think they're gonna be all right. They've got some good pieces there. They'll be okay.
Watch out for the Njoku hype; it might actually come true. And you know, we've seen these rookie quarterbacks come out here and light the league on fire until people figure out what they're doing. I think Baker could be that guy.
Absolutely. And then the, I guess, mediocre or upsetting game of the week, I guess we should say, was Tennessee and Jacksonville. A 9-6 final for the Titans.
Do better. Just do better.
I mean I don't,
even a division game. Usually division games they might be a shootout, you know, it's low scoring, but there's a lot of there wasn't even a lot of yards anywhere to enjoy, even as a fantasy fan or somebody who enjoys gambling, you know. So
I mean, I know Leonard Fournette wasn't there, but that Jacksonville defense is one of the best, if not the best in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, you've got good players on both sides of the ball, and you had Blaine Gabbert starting for the Tennessee Titans.
Blaine Gabbert, you've got Malcolm Butler on the outside giving up the most yards of any corner in the league right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And it's weird. It's they should be a lot better than they are. But
I know Mariota did come in when Gabbert went out, but still, I mean, I think folks thought this was a game Jacksonville should have easily handled when won that win. So that was kind of odd. In the NFC, some of the big winners, obviously we touched on Detroit over New England. Yep. Another one was Carolina over Cincinnati. Cam Newton has been playing very well.
Very well.
Cincinnati was coming off a great game against Baltimore with Andy Dalton, I believe, threw for 4 touchdowns in the first half. So Carolina looks like they're flowing. Christian McCaffrey's catching a lot of passes out of the backfield.
He said, I'm going to be out here all game. Like, let's go. I'm a workhorse.
Yeah, so that one's a good one. Washington over Green Bay, a bit of a surprise there.
Don't know who was going to pick that one. No idea.
I don't even know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem to really be lighting it up like he used to, not the Aaron Rodgers of old. I know he's missing Jordy Nelson, but he does have Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure.
Jimmy Graham in an offense that Jimmy Graham should be good at, right? Go and find the route, get there, as opposed to go and scramble around for a while, I'll find you.
Right. I think this Jimmy Graham should be the Jimmy Graham that was in New Orleans.
I would agree.
You know, not like he was in since Seattle. So I think Green Bay will get it together. I think they'll be fine.
I would agree.
And then another shootout we had was New Orleans and Atlanta, and going into overtime, New Orleans coming out with that victory. I mean, they're lighting it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's New Orleans. It's Drew Brees. So
what do you expect? It's been doing it for years. There's one thing you know when you go to the Superdome where you go, honestly, any of these NFC South teams are giving up a whole bunch of points now. It seems to be the NFC South of old where nobody plays defense. But, yeah, Drew Brees will hurt you. You give him time back there. He's always been somebody that can make a play. Even in the open field we see this last game he's making plays. So.
Right. And he ran it for a score. And so he's doing his thing, of course. And biggest loser, I would say, is Dallas to Seattle. Yeah. Dallas has zero offense.
There's nothing there. I mean,
I don't get it.
If your number one wide receiver is Cole Beasley, I think you've got problems.
I mean, they should have never let Dez walk out.
You know, I mean, what's it cost to have him stand out there and force some coverage, right? And worst case, you take a couple shots down there. They're really missing a Hall of Fame tight end. You know, if a quarterback's favorite receiver is the tight end, that's his safety valve. If you have a Hall of Famer there, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, obviously with the retirement of Jason Witten, that is hurting them as well.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, I think, can only do so much for them. Prescott, I'm not even sure he's had over 200 yards in a game this year.
I saw some weird stat. It was like fourth quarter of their last game. He only had 54 passing yards. I mean, that's not going to get it done. They're high school kids getting more yards than that.
I think Jerry Jones is still going to obviously ride out with Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott leading the way, but I think if they have another mediocre season, don't be surprised if Jerry Jones makes some moves next year.
He's going to have to, but I don't know if Jerry Jones is as in charge of this team as Stephen Jones is when you got Jerry on record saying that he sees similarities between the Rams and his offense. I don't see it, Jerry.
Oh, that's a big statement.
You got to wipe those glasses, bro, because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, he's got some blinders on. And another big storyline, I guess, from the NFL, which has been going on almost all of offseason and through now, is Le'Veon Bell from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, what do you got to say about that?
Honestly, the way these things are going, I believe that a player should get the kind of money he deserves. Le'Veon, people are like, well, Todd Gurley got paid. All right, Todd Gurley had one Le'Veon Bell season. Le'Veon Bell has had 3 Todd Gurley seasons. Obviously, you should be willing to step up to the table and say, hey, we believe in you, we'll invest in you. Right. But, from a team outlook, I think they'll be fine after watching this game against Fitzmagic. If they let him play the 1970s steel curtain defense, and it seems like Mike Tomlin has already told him, just go get that penalty. I don't care. Rough that passer as much as you want to. I don't want him comfortable. Right. Fantasy-wise, get out as soon as you can. I mean, try to get something back for him. Somebody out there is desperate for a running back. Try to sell them on the idea of having this guy fresh at the end of the season. Yeah. Not sure if anybody saw the TMZ video of him on a jet ski, but he looks like heavy on Bell. So, buyer beware. Buyer beware.
And then, that's a good point. As you mentioned, fantasy. I mean, Le'Veon Bell would normally be probably one of the leaders in fantasy this year, since he's not playing. But, one of the fantasy surprise quarterback leaders, I think, is Ryan Fitzpatrick, as you almost just said, about going out against that Fitzmagic last week.
My goodness.
He's been lighting it up for Tampa Bay. Now, I know Jameis Winston comes back. He's active this week. Yeah. I don't think they've disclosed who they're starting. Yeah. Do you ride with Fitzpatrick?
I would be willing to ride with Fitzpatrick. Okay. I think they're going to need at least 1 full week of practice. Jameis has been handling practices away from the team like a professional, having guys in. Apparently, he was the only person in pads in these practices, wanting to tell his teammates that I'm willing to work just as hard as you, if not harder, when I'm away from the team. I would say give Fitzmagic another chance. This is interesting because he had to deal with the pressure from the Steelers last week and come back and respond. Now he's got to deal with somebody in his rearview mirror and see how he responds. Right. Is this the end of the Fitzmagic show? He did the same thing starting out with the Jets before he inevitably had a Fitzmagic. Maybe Fitz Nightmare, and threw 3 picks in a game. Yeah. So I'd say ride him out. Ride him out at least this week.
All right. And obviously another leader, Patrick Mahomes and Drew Brees. But Mahomes, as we mentioned before, 13 touchdowns in 3 games, lighting it up in his second year for Kansas City. I think it has to do with Andy Reid. To be honest, it's scheming him in. Yeah, it's Andy Reid. Kansas City looking like one of the better teams, probably the best team in the AFC. Yeah. And they can go as far as Fitzpatrick. As far as Mahomes can take them. Yeah. He's putting up numbers, and Travis Kelce is feeding off it. Sammy Watkins is feeding off it. Yeah. They're going to be all right.
The fact that they got Sammy Watkins going, there was always questions about, Sammy Watkins going to get going in Buffalo. Sammy Watkins going to get going in St. Louis. LA, excuse me. The Rams, Sammy Watkins seems to be able to play. What's funny is he was always regarded as a very fast receiver, very fast player. Right. He looks slow in that offense compared to all the speed around him. It's hard to keep up with Hunt and Hill. Kelce when he gets rolling too. So, but Andy Reid's scheming hard.
Yeah, and obviously we mentioned Brees. No surprise there. It's Drew Brees is doing Drew Brees, of course, lining it up. He's, 38, 39 years old. Still going strong.
Father Time is not getting that man anytime
soon. Nothing much more really can say about Brees except he's Drew Brees, of course. Yep. And amongst the running back leaders in fantasy, Alvin Kamara, again, from New Orleans, not only running, but really catching the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. That's a key thing he's able to do for them. Todd Gurley for the Rams, same thing, running, catching.
Those hands we thought weren't there. I guess Jeff Fisher's just that bad of a coach, but it seems like, Todd Gurley, 4 for 73 and a touchdown against Minnesota this past week. You can't argue with that when you can slide him out the slot.
Right, exactly. Gurley, I should say McVay is having that offense, running that offense superb, and that whole entire team. Not just Gurley, but Jared Goff is having a great year.
Robert Woods having a great year.
Yep. Cooper Kupp having good numbers too, and that defense.
That defense finally heard Sue's name, but he's been clogging up lanes all year. So.
Obviously, you have arguably the best defensive player in Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Glad he got
Aqib Talib recently just got hurt. I know that's going to hurt them. Marcus Peters as well too. Yeah. So, but they can. I feel like they can compete with Minnesota as far as being the best defensive teams in the NFL. Not just the NFC.
I think NFC team to beat. You want to see if you can beat the Rams. Rams got a real soft schedule. If you take a look at it, buy on the Rams.
Right. And the other running back's having a great year too. Melvin Gordon for San Diego, or excuse me, for the other LA Chargers. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Hey, I always say San Diego. I'll never give up the dream.
And it's funny. I was talking to a colleague of mine earlier, a couple weeks ago, and about this team. I just feel bad for Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
My goodness, yeah.
But he's never going to get to. He's not going to win. I don't think he's going to get to a Super Bowl before he retires.
I don't think so either. I would have to agree with you on that.
He's always putting up numbers.
He's been one of my top 5 guys for a long time. He'll have no offensive line, no wide receivers, no tight end, 4,300 yards and 30 touchdowns.
But Melvin Gordon is doing good things for fantasy owners out there. Amongst the wide receiver leaders, again, we started in New Orleans again with Michael Thomas.
My goodness.
I think
he set rumble, the record, young man, rumble.
He set the record for most catches in the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah. Beat Julio Jones, I believe.
Work.
Yeah. I mean, just must be sticky hands, must have magnets in there. I don't know, but he's not dropping anything.
Yeah. I mean, so you've got an elite quarterback, an elite running back, and a receiver. Yep. Yeah, your offense is going to do some things.
Absolutely.
And Mike Evans out of Tampa Bay, feeding off of Fitzpatrick.
People thought he was dead. Mike Evans, I'm still a top tier wide receiver in this league, and I'm probably what is he 24 years old, 25 maybe?
Yeah, he's going to put up numbers. And then Adam Thielen in Minnesota. Came out of nowhere, had a breakout season last year.
People wondered if it was actually real. Was he this guy? It seems like he's backing it up.
This Minnesota-born and bred guy. I mean, he's really doing a thing. He's a possession receiver and even a speed guy. He can put up some numbers. So there's the leaders and receivers. And of course, tight ends, leaders in fantasy. We have Travis Kelce in Kansas City. Surprisingly, Jared Cook in Oakland. And again, Zach Ertz in Philly, no surprise there. But, I mean, Kelce's going to keep feeding off of Mahomes, as we mentioned before. Zach Ertz, now I'm sure he's happy Carson Wentz is back.
I'm sure he's very happy Carson Wentz is back. Some of those passes are right where he needs them to be.
Right. Yeah. Not to say that Foles was doing poorly, but I'm sure he's happy Wentz is back.
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing I would say as far as fantasy defenses are concerned is Chicago doing extremely well.
Yeah,
and obviously we point to one person,
Khalil Mack.
Did John Gruden make a mistake?
I don't think John Gruden. That's interesting. It's a good question to ask. I don't think John Gruden made a mistake. I think if you look at the makeup of what the Raiders are now, being a team looking down the 0-3 hole, probably 0-4 coming out of their next game, you kind of want to say, hey, this is our last year in Oakland. We're moving. We're going to reset the franchise a little bit with this move. Try to get those first-round picks. Try to start building a new team. At least keep fans having something to watch.
Right.
But they're not getting anything from Cooper. Carr's looking really shaky in the pocket. Right. The only really solid thing they have there seems to be Marshawn Lynch, and he's 32 years old. That speaks volumes about where the team's at. Looking at this from both sides. Good job, Chicago. You got a monster in the midway again.
Yeah.
You guys look great. That NFC North, if they're the only team that can play defense, it's on Mitch Trubisky to make it happen so that they can break through.
I 100% agree with you there. So now, you know what? I say I want to look at the matchups for this upcoming Week 4 of the NFL. We've got some pretty good games lined up. Obviously, we just had Minnesota and LA play the other night. LA coming out with that victory 38-31. I mean, they're lighting it up, as we mentioned before. Offensively and defensively, they're playing strong. Yeah. But offensively, Goff is firing on all cylinders.
How do you want to lose? I mean, he's looking off the safety, delivering great balls to whoever they put in the slot there, be it Kupp, be it Woods, be it Gurley. And it's interesting. I think Jared Goff has bought in. His team has bought into McVay. McVay. He was showering praise on the way Kirk Cousins played so that McVay could get this opportunity out in L.A.
Right.
And then you look at Cousins. Cousins is showering praise on McVay, saying he set me up in a really good offense. It was one of the only people that thought I could do it when they were in Washington because everybody else was still on the RG3 train.
Right. Another matchup we have is Cincinnati at Atlanta. I'm going to go Atlanta on this one here.
Yep.
I mean, Matt Ryan's going to, I think, because they're at home, that offense, Julio Jones, of course.
Yeah.
Now, not to slight Cincinnati at all.
No.
Obviously, with Dalton and AJ Green, but I'm going to go Atlanta.
So I think Atlanta's got a chance to pull this out. I don't know if AJ Green is actually healthy. It's probably football healthy. That groin injury, something that he had from college, hasn't really bothered him at all. But it's something to monitor, something to watch. I think Tyler Boyd is going to look great. Can he keep up this consistency of the ball going his way? Are they going to get anything from Eifert? I just feel like the defense is good for Atlanta. They're strong. They want to keep it rolling.
Gotcha. And Tampa Bay at Chicago. I'm just going to say Tampa Bay.
I'll say Tampa Bay. I think they're going to come out there. The firepower is there. Mitchell Trubisky's going to make some plays, but he's not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah. Detroit and Dallas. I'm going to say Detroit just because Dallas can't score.
Dallas can't score. Yeah, I mean, maybe they can cover, but how long can you cover with the wide receiver set that Detroit has?
Yeah. Buffalo at Green Bay. I'm going to say Green Bay, even though Buffalo's coming off the big victory against Minnesota. I'm going to say Green Bay. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to get it working.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Green Bay.
I agree. You got to maintain home field advantage at Green Bay at Lambeau. There's no way they're going to lose this one.
Absolutely. Philly at Tennessee. Carson Wentz was on a roll last week. I'm going to say Philly.
Seems like a trap game to me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I want to see more of this two tight end, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, but I'll say give Philly the slight edge, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost to Tennessee today.
Okay. Houston at Indianapolis. Houston is underachieving 0-3. I picked them, honestly, to beat New England the first week, and I don't know what it is. Sean Watson not playing very well at all.
That offensive line is not giving him time. Seantrail Henderson going out in the first game wasn't good. He had a knee injury, but when Seantrail Henderson going out is not good for your offensive line, you probably don't have a good offensive line.
All right, so you would say Houston or Indy? Who you take?
I think the touchdown upside is there in Houston, but because Indy, I just don't like the way Andrew Luck's delivering the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to say Houston as well, too, to get that first victory. Miami at New England. I'm just going to say New England.
Going New England.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really bet against New England. So
not at all.
Pretty much straightforward there.
Yeah.
New York at Jacksonville. Jacksonville really needs to get it together. Sam Darnold, even though he's been playing well, I'm going to go Jacksonville because it's in Jacksonville. Jacksonville. Cleveland at Oakland. Oakland needs to get a victory here.
I don't know if they will.
I don't know if they will either, but I'm saying that they need to, and it's a very must-win situation.
Yeah.
It's early in the season. I'm going to say Oakland just because of that.
Okay, so their backs against the wall. I think Cleveland's been in so many of these games where they were like 1-1 right now. No, they're going to get the step you. I feel like Cleveland could take it.
Okay, we got Seattle and Arizona. Arizona is looking very, very subpar this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Seattle.
I'm going to go Seattle.
All right. New Orleans at New York. The New York Football Giants.
Whew.
This is going to be another shootout. I believe it was
yeah.
it last year or year before where each team put up almost 50 points a game in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So this can be another shootout as well. Saquon Barkley's playing very well for the Giants. I'm going to go New Orleans.
I'm going to go New Orleans too. I think they'll find a way to win. I just look out for New York to blow it up. Without Evan Ingram there, I have questions about who's going to be that safety blanket for Eli.
Right.
But I would absolutely go New Orleans.
Right. So we've got San Francisco at the LA Chargers. Now, San Francisco lost their quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo to a torn ACL last week.
Shame.
To me, their season's over.
Yeah. CJ Beathard isn't going to get them over the hump.
Not at all.
No
offense, but he just doesn't have what it takes, I think, to be a starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's another Nathan Peterman.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I'm going to say Chargers, and if you're betting against San Francisco throughout the season, keep doing it.
Keep going. Yeah. Make your money.
Yeah. And we've got a rivalry matchup or a conference matchup at Baltimore at Pittsburgh. This is a tough one. These games are always tough, especially Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh found a way to win. I think and it depends on what kind of defense they come out here with. Is that defense gonna play well at home for them? Big Ben's always better at home,
right.
But AFC North matchups, you never know what could happen. But I like Pittsburgh at home.
Right. And the final matchup is Monday Night Football with the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Denver Broncos. Kansas City, like we said before, Andy Reid, he's doing a phenomenal job in KC. Yeah. Mahomes, Hill, like we said, Kelsey.
A lot of weapons, a lot of things that could happen.
Justin Houston on the defensive side.
I look at Denver and I just feel like, is Case Keenum ready to come out here and throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns just to keep up and make it interesting? I don't think so.
Right. Well, that was the NFL matchups for this week. I mean, that's all we have for today. Did you have anything else to add here, Obed?
Not at all. Hey, good luck with your DFS plays. Good luck with your fantasy season. Take care. Don't lose your pants.
All right. That wraps up another episode from What's the Word Entertainment. Again, I'm Sherman with my guest host, Obed. Once again, I want to say thank you for being here today, filling in. Appreciate it so much. And like I said, be back and we'll catch up with you next time. Thank you.
Peace.